Nikolai Borisovich Yusupov bought the Arkchangelskoe estate in 1810, when he was already 60. He used to say he wanted to make the estate into a paradise on earth, so he moved there from his palace in St. Petersburg all that was most valuable and beautiful: paintings, books, furniture, trimmings. Prince Yusupov was a fine connoisseur of art. He bought artwork for the Russian Empress Catherine II, at the same time purchasing items for his private collection. In Nikolai Yusupov's lifetime, the Yusupovs became Russia's richest family, and his collection one of the most valuable to be found in Europe. For nearly 15 years, Prince Yusupov lived outside Russia, traveling across European countries. And in every city, London, Rome, Venice, Paris, Vienna, he bought works of the most famous artists: statues, paintings, books, porcelain and bronze items, clocks and carved stonework, as well as tobacco boxes, tapestries, furniture and walking canes. Typically for the 18th century, Yusupov's private collection was a universal collection. Not a fleeting whim, Prince Yusupov's interest in art was rather professional. He was appointed by the royal family as the director of the Russian imperial theaters and glass and porcelain workshops. He also stood at the head of the Hermitage in St. Petersburg and the Kremlin Armory Chamber in Moscow. The first part of the collection that Yusupov moved to Arkchangelskoe was his library. He placed the books on the second floor in special cabinets. The library numbered about 18,000 books. They included novels, poetry, books on history and mathematics, botany and music, books by classical authors and by writers contemporary with Yusupov. Yusupov, being an enlightened person, library for him was an important means of reputation building. At that age, all educated gentlemen enthused over the writings of the French and English thinkers. Noble ladies ordered portraits featuring them alongside encyclopedias, not bottles of perfume or powder boxes atop their toilet tables. They were often portrayed performing physical science experiments, as on Charles-André Van Loos's paintings. Yusupov's collection of Flemish and Dutch masters was not big. He started putting it together yet in 1774, when he was just 22nd, and for the first time outside Russia, in the Netherlands, as a student at the Leiden University. It was then that Yusupov developed a passion for collecting famous artists. Man in a tall hat and gloves, and lady holding an ostrich fan, are two portraits by Rembrandt that are the most precious items from his collection. In 1919, the prince's grand-grandson Felix Yusupov took these portraits with him leaving Russia after the Bolshevik Revolution. Presently, they are in Washington. The French paintings from Yusupov's collection are very interesting. They were brought about due to the collector's private contacts with the artists. Yusupov visited the artists' studios, commissioned paintings to them and discussed the subjects of the pictures. Many pieces were acquired on recommendation of French philosopher Denis Diderot, with whom he was personally acquainted. Once he asked for Diderot's opinion about François Boucher, the artist of choice of the notorious Madame Pompadour, Louis XV's mistress. Diderot talked about Boucher most disparagingly. "These paintings are terrible art and address immoral themes," said the philosopher and moralist. But Yusupov liked the themes as well as the artistry, and he decided not to seek Diderot's advice anymore. This amusing episode by no means takes away from Yusupov's real merits as the acknowledged connoisseur of European art. Russian noblemen and diplomats, emulating him, began their own collecting, and many European artists became famous due to Yusupov's commissions. One of them was Jacob Philipp Hackert, a German artist working in Italy. It is believed that his landscapes, mornings in the environments of Rome and evenings in the environs of Rome, were the first works Yusupov ever commissioned. In Italy, Yusupov was regarded as one of the influential art lovers. The Russian prince astonished Italians with the diversity and scope of his commissions. Correggio's woman's portrait, made in 1519, is one of the most highly priced masterpieces. Presently, it is held at the State Hermitage in St. Petersburg. For 7 years, from 1783 through 1790, Yusupov served as Russian ambassador to the court of the King of Sardinia and Turin. At that period, mythology was his passion, and most of his buys were mythology-themed pictures. These paintings are now on display at Arkchangelskoe. Prince Yusupov was the first Russian collector to adapt rooms to the needs of paintings, rather than choose paintings to match the rooms. At Arkchangelskoe, he united 2 rooms into one, to accommodate twin pictures of Italian artist Giovanni Tiepolo. Another example, when Yusupov planned to mount 2 famous young ladies' heads, the unusual portraits by Pietro Rotari, a Venetian artist very popular at the time. He had a whole room in Arkchangelskoe specially decorated, calling it Rotari's room. Prince Nikolai Yusupov's collection of paintings numbered over 550 items. Visiting Europe often as he did, Yusupov was well familiar with international fashions and had the interior of his residences appointed accordingly. His collection of the clocks of famous European clockmakers, as well as porcelain vases, candle holders, and censers, were housed at Arkchangelskoe. All these objects were arrayed in reception rooms to create an impression of opulence. One of the fashionable trends of the age was decorating homes with Chinese and Japanese porcelain. Prince Yusupov bought porcelain not in China or Japan, but in Europe, as other items for his collection. Interestingly, it was the French royal couple of Louis XVI and Maria Antoinette who started the porcelain collection in 1793. They presented Yusupov with a Sèvres porcelain set in Chinese style counting 107 items. Yusupov's interest to porcelain was a special one. At the beginning, he built Russia's first porcelain workshop on the instructions of Empress Catherine II and directed it for 8 years. And later, in 1818,